Hi, Nick. Thank you for doing the interview. Just to explain to my amazingly huge audience who you are. Your name is Nick Feinberg, and you're a radio celebrity in Cape Town, South Africa, and you're a big fan of football club Spartak Moscow. I had to say that. I had to say that. No, it's Lokomotiva. It's Lokomotiva, your favorite football club. Yeah. You're a football.
Just to interject.
Sorry.
One of the worst days of my life was going to the Champions League final in Moscow to watch Chelsea lose John Terry slip. So yeah, bad comment there.
So Chelsea won and your favorite team Lokomotiva lost.
Manchester United won, which I can't bear them, and Chelsea lost, which is the team I live and die for.
Okay. So where does this obsession with Chelsea come from? Why do you love Chelsea so much?
Well, I live in Cape Town. I've been here for 25 years, but I was born and bred in London. And despite being in North London, my older brother and my uncle both supported Chelsea. So they used to take me to games when I was a kid. And, I'm not sure how familiar you are with British football culture, but once you're in, you're in. And, I was taken to, as an example, Anfield, Liverpool, when I was a kid, and, the stadium started singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." And I just remember standing there as a little kid, and the hair, on my spine was up, and this atmosphere, and it was incredible. And I think from that moment onwards, I was kind of like sold to football, and it just became a bigger and bigger obsession.
You had a hairy spine when you were a kid. That's the only thing I just realized. I was like, I don't care. What do you mean a hair on your spine? What is that? Is that a condition?
Yeah. Just the excitement of the whole thing. It was just like absolutely. In fact, all my senses were just on end, and from that moment onwards, that was it. And born and bred into it. And at my ripe old age, I'm still very much involved.
Yeah. So and how did you go from Chelsea fan to being a radio personality? How did you become a radio personality? That's a strange career. I mean, at least in my perspective,
Well, I didn't go from Chelsea fan to radio personality. I mean, that wasn't a career path.
It's not like immediate.
Yeah. I think, but it is linked because, I started working in sort of the realms of marketing for the radio station, for a radio station 23 odd years ago. And I think what happened there was every day in the office, because the people in Cape Town are mad about English football, I'd be arguing and bantering about football. And at some stage, one of the guys in the programming department said, "Hey, have you ever thought about talking about football on air? Because you're so passionate about it and you seem to have a fair amount of knowledge." And I said, "Never thought about it. Let's give it a go." And then sort of I started doing just a minor sort of feature on daytime shows out from that period. And then it just expanded and, it grew into me being an on-air personality.
Okay. I wonder if they hire a nuclear scientist that way as well. Like there is someone going around the office talking about nuclear physics, and they're like, "Hey, kid, you can do it." Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to be funny.
No, you are fairly humorous at times, but I think
I am. Okay, I'm trying. I was preparing for this. I
often think that interviews are often done in the wrong way in the workspace, and if you find people who have absolute passion about something, whether they have a degree in it or not is irrelevant. And often if people have got a complete, they're living their lives for something, that's of far more importance than perhaps a course or something in a particular subject.
Yeah. And like politicians.
Absolutely. There you go. That was funny.
I see you're a fan of Zuma.
Funny. Am I a fan of Zuma?
Yeah, thank you very much.
The thing about me is, without boring you with the whole story, is that I was brought up in London in the environment of political exiles from South Africa. My father's a revolutionary. He was part of the ANC and the armed wing of the ANC, and I was brought up around that community, which included the likes of a person who was occasionally on the scene, like Jacob Zuma. I would never have imagined from those years that I one day say, man, I don't vote for the ANC because I think from the time, in particular, Zuma represents a very bad element in the ANC. The nationalists who have taken over the ANC and created huge problems in this country, and I don't vote for the ANC anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's not very funny, is it?
Sorry to hear that, because for us outside, ANC is like Nelson Mandela. You know, that's it. The liberators.
Yeah.
But I can imagine the liberators in my country were also kind of turned very sour much faster. They're much faster here.
Right.
Anyway, so you.
I think it's a general. Sorry, just another note on that. I think it's a general thing. If you have a look at what happened in the Soviet Union as well, with the oligarchs taking over, it's a thing, isn't it? After liberation, sometimes when the masses have been oppressed for so many years, there are elements within that who want to just grab and take whatever they can now that it's all open. And I think that's been shown over and over again, and that's definitely happened in South Africa as well.
Yeah, I've met these people, you know, in my career, because I work with a lot of business people, and I met people who really are able within a week to make enormous amount of money. They just catch the opportunity. I mean, they're so fast. So, you know, sometimes you need these people to change the thing, but sometimes, you know, they're really unbelievably fast and able. You know, I just met a couple of people recently. I was amazed when I read what they've done. It's unbelievable, you know, so fast. One guy made like, I don't know, more than 50 million in a week, like by you know, not a scam, just, you know, they're so fast. I'm not able to think that way, to hack the world, you know. Anyway,
well, so somebody very close. So I was going to say somebody very close to me, coincidentally, has just made the sort of money that would make your parents probably do a fart on a PPE deal, which has just made them like money just that I can't even.
What's a PPE deal?
You know, personal protective equipment deal. Somewhere in the United States. They've connected, you know, a factory to whatever it is, and made absolutely just gigantic amounts of money. Yeah, it's a strange one.
Yeah. Anyway, good for them. How many people listen to you? What's your
the station's
audience?
The station's got a listenership of 760,000.
Whoa! And how much? I mean, I remember when we were walking down the street in Cape Town, and they're like, you have this thing with jokes, and then people want to joke back with you, and they want to fight with you, and because it's very funny. That's what I'm trying to do here, because it's so much fun to talk to you and fight with you. You're like why are you not a comedian? You know, that's the first question. That's something I wanted to ask you. Why do you not like touring?
I'm not sure if I'm taking that if I take that as a compliment, but yeah, I mean, I think with regards to the banter that I get involved with on air and off air and in the newspaper, it's mainly regarding football. And I think the difference in South Africa to England is that when I do meet people and they, you know, I get death threats and I get a lot of angry people, but when I meet them face to face, it's all like, hey, you know, how you doing, and you know, good to meet you and whatever. There's no genuine vicious background to it. Whereas in the UK, it's very different, and football's taken a lot more seriously, and people get violent over it. And yeah, I probably wouldn't be around today.
I didn't ask why nobody killed you. I asked, why are you not a comedian?
I don't consider myself to be funny or humorous. You know,
what?
I don't consider myself to be that. No.
You're a super fun person. If anybody I know, I mean, the main value that I get from you is the humor. But maybe that's because I know nothing about football.
No, but that's just because you like taking a piss out of me, and I react to it. Yeah.
No, you're the main provocateur. You're the biggest. People think I provoke,
right?
But you're the biggest provocateur that I ever met in my life.
Well, I mean, you know.
Do you know anybody who provokes more than you?
I feel exactly the same way about you, and I don't want this to turn into a wanking, you know, session.
I'm a business. I'm a startup. product designer and a business consultant. I'm a nobody. You're a guy provoking 1 million people every day. Is it every day or how many?
No, I'm only on air now once a week, but I do have a whole page in the most.
That's enough.
That's a whole page in the
once
most
a week is enough.
Popular newspaper here, which causes the most provocation. But you know, like I read your poetry and it makes me laugh. You know.
Ah, okay. Which one? About dead parents? The one about my parents dying and children starving?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are funny.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of. I'm a big fan of yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll send you my book. I'll send you my poetry book.
Signed.
Anyway, so South Africa. Yeah, signed. So South Africa, I haven't been there in a long time. I miss it greatly. I mean, just looking at, you're now in South Africa, so I'm seeing those doors and stuff. I feel very nostalgic. And, you know, so what's happening now? And so I got extremely scared because I saw what happened in Italy with coronavirus. And my friend, you know, I saw the casualties and, you know, and the first thing in my mind, when I heard what's going on in Italy with my friends and my colleagues over there, I didn't get scared about Belgrade and Serbia or states or other places where I live. I got scared about Africa, about South Africa, you know, because, so I don't know what's going on, you know, how hard is it being hit?
I think the biggest worry here, of course, is that, like we're seeing in India at the moment, is that because of the poverty here and people in townships lumped together, millions of people in a small confined space. Yeah. You know, the worry here was that it was just going to explode once it hit the townships. Thankfully, as it appears now, you know, in the Western Cape, as an example, it's peaked and it's on its way down. And we're seeing a similar trajectory in Gauteng, Johannesburg, and now in Durban as well, where it feels, and according to the stats, the worst is over. And it hasn't just like ripped through millions of people. But on the flip side, there's a lot of controversy regarding the stats and whether or not all of the, you know, the amount of testing we're doing and the groups of people who are being tested are giving a true reflection of what's going on. It does feel like we're on the worst side of it is out, and we're on our way back. Yeah. We're at stage 2 now, so pretty much, you know, the economy is pretty much open. People still aren't allowed to congregate in big numbers, but it feels like we're going in the right direction. The one worry is, of course, that South Africa is a nation, and you know, I come from England, and I thought it was bad there. People drink here. I mean, it's like it's a real issue. And I think as soon as they, you know, they banned alcohol for a while, and as soon as they unban alcohol, people just go mad again. Emergency rooms are full of stabbing and shooting victims and road car accidents victims, etc., etc. So that's a huge issue. But as far as Corona goes, you know, who knows where it's going, because we're seeing a resurgence in Italy as well, I believe now as well, around the world, in France and the UK. Second wave, that may well happen here, but for the moment it feels like we're winning.
Okay, that's good, you know. So I want to visit again with my kids. So, and I've been listening, you know, I have some friends, South Africans, who are not in South Africa. South Africans tell me it's always the way it was before, and people outside are a bit scared with all this, you know, anti-white thing going on and stuff. How can I visit? Can I visit with my kids this December?
An anti-white thing going
on? Everything opens up.
What is that?
Yeah, well, with like what I heard is this violence, people attacking farmers, people who are alone on a farm, you know, and it's racially motivated, you know, by whites being attacked. That's what I heard. That's what I'm seeing on Facebook. Is that true?
Yeah, look, I mean, let me give you another example. During, just ahead of the 2010 World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, I saw headlines in the UK in the tabloids, like with pictures of groups of black men walking around with machetes, promising they're going to chop tourists up. It was the cleanest, crime-free
that's the kind of stuff I'm seeing
World Cup ever in history. There were less arrests, example, and robberies and whatever in history. So I'd say to you that it's a similar thing that you're hearing about anti-white violence. that it's pretty much non-existent. There is an issue with farmers and people being in remote locations being attacked. That has happened, but absolutely not. I think generally it's a really safe place. Obviously, the crime and murder stats are terrible here, but that happens predominantly in the townships itself.
Yeah. So I can come with my kids this December. Yeah. January,
Completely.
February.
Yeah, you know.
Okay,
I mean, and you hang out in the affluent areas, Camps Bay, Sea Point, there's never any issues there. I mean,
Yeah, but when I was in Sea Point, when I was living in Sea Point, I remember there were like so many drug dealers and prostitutes and all this stuff. So it wasn't really like now. I think after the World Cup or just before, they cleaned it up and they made the malls, they gentrified it. But I remember when I was there, and I do remember the first time I met you, I have to remind you of this, that we were not in Woodstock, we were somewhere far away in Damien's house or something. And then I wanted to catch a cab to go home. And I asked you, what is the typical price of a cab? And you told me 50 rand. And then the guy drove me for about an hour and he gave me a super fair ride. And you made a joke. It was not 50 rand. The normal price would be 200, 300 rand. And me believing you 100%, I said, no, you're scamming me. So I said, I was sitting in a cab. I don't know if you know the story. I was sitting in a cab fighting with him for half an hour, refusing. This was my first night in Cape, refusing to pay 200 rand, which was a fair price. And then the guy in the middle of the dark, like midnight, middle of Cape Town, and the guy then called the taxi boss. And then I argued with him. At the end, they let me off with 100 rand. So because you made the joke, you and Damien made the joke with me, and you told me it's 50 rand. It's impossible it's 50 rand. I didn't know the currency at the moment. Do you remember that joke?
I've got no recollection of that, and why I do that. I've got no idea whatsoever. But anyway,
that was a crazy joke.
We're Uber now. We're Uber friendly, so you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. That was even taxis were always great in South Africa. But when you tell someone it's going to cost as much as a chewing gum, and I don't know the currency. And I'm really, I'm so like stubborn. I told this guy, there is no way I'm going to pay you 200 rand. And he didn't know what to do.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
He called them. No, it was a good joke. I love the joke. It was a practical joke. It was a good joke. You took a chance on someone who just arrived first night in Cape Town. You had some fun, and I'm sure you had a lot of laugh with.
Hey, I was young then. I'm sorry. I don't do that shit anymore.
No, what, you don't do it anymore. I'm not complaining. It's a great joke. Right. I always tell everybody how I have a friend who made this great joke. There is no negative. Why are you being insecure? Okay. No, it's a great joke. It's really an awesome joke. Yeah. And so is South Africa going for better?
No, not at the moment. I mean, the thing is, because of the looting done by the previous administration, and that's continuing now. There's a lot of issues here. But I think just from the perspective of a tourist coming into the country, it's a wonderful place to come to. Living here.
No, just in general.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Just in general.
The life and of all my friends there and everybody.
I always remain optimistic, and I still believe that there's a lot of really good people here in important positions. And I think that, there is a concerted effort now to start prosecuting people who have been draining, the state and, the sort of major parastatals and stuff. And I think once they start putting people in prison, which looks like it's going to start happening, that's going to have a good effect on what's going to happen in the future. I remain optimistic. It's an incredible country. Tons, it's got so much wealth and resource. And there's great people here, and there's a lot of energy here, and I think it's going to turn. It's going to turn in the next couple of years, and it's going to get back to on the right road again.
Yeah. Because what's interesting to me is that I grew up in Nigeria, but I don't remember that. And I lived in a bunch of places.
Oh, did you?
I came to South Africa.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I was in Serbia only when I was close to 5.
Oh, right.
I was in Nigeria, Lagos.
Okay.
Lagos in the 70s.
Right.
But I don't remember. I just have a couple of some images and stories from my childhood.
Okay.
But I don't really remember much. And So I was kind of my son's age when I came back to Europe, to Belgrade, to Serbia. But you know, what I saw, and many people in Europe, they don't realize, you know, or elsewhere, they don't know what a township is. You know, like there are Roma townships that have, you know, a couple of hundred maybe, and they're a little bit more developed. And when I saw the townships in South Africa, I was like, wow, this is extreme. And every time I went to South Africa, the reason I didn't live is that after 2 months, I get so upset. A maximum I stayed 3-4 months. I think once I stayed 5, I don't remember. And I just get upset with this, you know, it just upsets me so much. And there is so much potential. And then over time, obviously, I started meeting people from townships, hanging out, especially because I was running. And they're, you know, that's one of the things they can do, you know, they can run and they channel their energy into that. They cannot make software, you know, so, and they're really amazing people. I mean, they're super creative, super positive and stuff. And it just seems like an enormous amount of potential going nowhere, you know, they're just like there and that's it, not going anywhere, you know. And what do you think about that? Is it going to change? How it can change?
Well, I think that's just, it's symptomatic of any situation in the world, whether you're in the back streets of London or in the favelas in Brazil or in the townships in South Africa. And it's there's tons of potential and loads of people who are creative and have lots to offer. But there's the frustration of not having the opportunities or the facilities or the money to get that going. And it's the same here, but multiply Hackney in London, where kids are stabbing each other and getting into gangs, multiply that by 100 when you've got 2 million people living in tin shack houses on top of each other with outdoor toilets and no running water and no electricity. So the frustration and the potential of, well, the frustration is multiplied so many times because it's such a much bigger and more desperate problem here. So it is, it's huge. And the answer to that, nobody has the answer to that, because, you know, there's approximately 30 million people here or whatever it is living in those conditions. How do you accommodate 30 million people living in these spaces? How do you house everyone? How do you get all of the amenities people need, you know, when you have a country that's been looted and there's no, you know, South Africa's just borrowed 500 billion rand to help with the coronavirus. Which is going to set us back for another couple of years as well. It's a massive problem. I don't have the answer or the idea or the solution. It needs good governance and it needs a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's getting a little bit better over time. Yeah, it's getting better and better.
Yeah, I think it is getting better, but not at a quick enough pace.
Yeah. I mean, if I go to a township now where I was like 10 years ago, like to Kayamandi or Guguletu or something, it looks different, or it's the same. I haven't been there, you know, in a while. Does it look a bit different?
Yeah, most of it's the same. Most of it's pretty much the same. Most people in the Western Cape, where I am, in the townships now have electricity and running water, well, access to clean running water. But it's still, I mean, it's like it's poverty, man. Like it's deep, you know?
Yeah, it's extreme. I mean, my life changed. Sorry to start with jokes, and now we're talking about the gloomy subject.
That's fine.
But the general topic of these interviews is always about change and creativity. You know, how to make the world a better place. Kind of like I'm trying to have this positive vibe. But yeah, I mean, it changed me because I realized that, you know, some places that to me seemed bad when I saw that, and I realized I'm seriously blessed. You know, like. And it's really amazing that exists, you know. So anyway, we covered everything. I mean, you're super fast. How much time?
Oh, is that it?
I don't know. You asked me something. Come on, you're gonna ask me a nice question. Nobody asked me. Everybody asked me stupid questions. Sorry, I apologize to everybody else, but nobody asked me like a fun question. You're a radio guy. You can ask me something. Maybe we hit off on another subject.
No. I'm just interested to know where to next for you, because I don't know. You have for me a mixed perspective. One is of helping big business and corporates to make money. The other is a very sort of nonchalant and uninterested personal view of making money, and I'm just not sure where you're at and where you're going. Be interested to know that.
Ah, okay. Well, that's a nice way to describe it. Yeah. Well, I think I think we have the same idea that we want to do. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I see you talking on radio. I mean, you're talking to all these people, and I know you. I mean, you have all these jokes and you have this style, but at the end of the day, you're an extremely positive, good person. I think that transfers in everything that you do. I mean, every little tweet, no matter how mean it is, to me it seems like you're trying to do something positive, you know. So your wish to change is very covert, and that's something that I'm very interested in, because you're not telling people, you know, like, you know, revolutionary, do this and that. You're doing it in a more covert way with a positive attitude. You know, even these questions that you answer, they're very positive. You can say a negative thing in a positive way and still give positive energy. It's kind of like very hidden, but people still feel it. You know, I think people watching this video are going to feel the positivity, even if you talk about bad stuff. You know, you have this talent, and that's why I said, why are you not a comedian? I mean, you should be talking about everything to everybody. And I think whatever, even if you talk about a recipe for a soup, it's going to be great. Just like, I mean, comedians are there to make things fun and to make things positive, and still they give a very important message, you know. And I think that I'm trying to do the same as you. I mean, you have this amazing reach that is local. I mean, it's huge. And I'm trying to do the same, but with my own thing. You know, that's why maybe I'm a little bit nonchalant. I'm not so much a money person. I'm more of a person that sees companies as a vehicle, and companies must do that, or organizations, or other people. Let's say other people, not so much a company, other people, you know, because, you know, I work with individuals as well. So I just want them to do something that I think is good. There is like a higher level motivation than money, you know. I mean, you have a higher level. You're not you're not a crazy money guy. You have a higher motivation than that. You know, what's your motivation? What
No,
is
no,
the
I,
thing, you know?
I do, but I would like more money. You know.
Yeah, everybody does, because you go to the shop and you need money, you know. But
well, yeah, I mean, I just don't want to count. I don't want to be counting at the end of every month. But you know, everyone's the same way.
But I think for both of us, you first want to have fun and you want to do good. You want to be a nice guy, you want to be a fun guy, and then you want to be a rich guy. That's I think priority, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be a nice guy, a fun guy, and then a rich guy. If you want to be a rich guy first, you're not going to be a fun guy and a nice guy, you know. So
yeah, I don't want to be a rich guy. I just want to have enough, and that's honestly where I'm at. You know, I'm 55 years old now, and I have to start thinking about what next, because you know, obviously the radio.
Well, you're 55. You look like 70.
I look like 70. Here's the recipe.
Not 17. 70.
Yeah, here's the recipe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm dying inside.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I do believe in the, you know, in that I'm a positive person. I do get very frustrated.
You are.
I get very frustrated with people, and I'm quite interested to hear your viewpoint of the stuff I put out on social media and stuff. I use the newspaper. And I have done for about 10 years now. It's a large newspaper, and I write about football. But
Which one is it?
It's the Daily Voice. It's a tabloid, and I've used it very consciously to write all my crap about football and the banter and the arguments between teams or whatever. But in between it all, I put in very political, positive message. And I think, that is a big thing in my life. And whether or not I've made a change, I do get some really interesting feedback from people who pick up on stuff that I'm talking about. Other people don't like it at all, because I'm an atheist, and I'm, my ideals are kind of, veering towards socialism, but not exactly. And some people don't like that, but I try to give out a good message. Yeah, and I'm glad that you think that of me. I had no idea. I thought you just thought I was an idiot.
No, it's clear. I mean, What did you say? You thought that I thought that you're an idiot.
I thought that you thought that I was an idiot. Yeah.
Listen, it's typical of high-performing celebrities. I learned this by working with elite athletes, with world champion athletes.
Mm.
Can I say something? So the more famous you are, the more exposed you are, the more insecure you are. So you don't have to be insecure. Everybody loves you.
Oh.
You're talking about people making threats on you. You're talking about, no, everybody loves you. I love your stuff, but I cannot judge it objectively because I know you personally,
Sure.
And I know your humor. And so for me, I'm looking at you as a father of Sasha. I look at you as a friend. I don't look at you as a, I'm kind of like your mother, like I cannot, I see you as Nick, the friend. I don't see you as like an objective, you know, celebrity and stuff. But I do. If I would give you one advice, I would say that you should focus on being on the stage. You know, I think that would be a lot of fun. And maybe if not alone, maybe you can invite people on the stage, make a conference.
As a comedian,
you know, 15. Yeah, just, I mean, comedians are commentators, you know, they're commentating on a lot of, you talk about football, talk about, you know, talk about the politics, talk about everything together. The way, I mean, that's a nice way. I mean, do you realize that the pornography started as criticism of people in power? You know, the early pornography in the 18th century, there is a study on MIT and everything. They studied the history, and a lot of the pornography was always connected with extreme criticism. That was the only way to criticize. And you know, now pornography is just pornography. That's only recent. Until maybe a few decades ago, pornography was always very much related to political commentary. And I'm not for pornography. I'm just saying as an example of people using all content that everybody wants, that has a mass audience, just like you do with football, and then putting in political commentary together. Sure. There is a big tradition of that, you know.
Yes.
That's an innovation from 18th century, you know. There was like, that's how they used to criticize the kings and the emperors, you know.
Right.
So there is, and also the way that you chose a tabloid, I think that's very interesting. I was approached by a tabloid like brand here, and I was very happy. I have to see if I'm going to work with them. But for me, that's just a different aesthetic, but you can still give a lot a lot of important messages there, you know.
Okay.
I mean,
what would you have? What would you do in the newspaper? On what
well,
subject
I'm a brand, so I cannot say because I'm negotiating. So, but anyway, one thing that I think is bad is that I just think people have a bad tabloids have a bad reputation. So what I think there is a competitive advantage in like making people feel good when they read a tabloid. You know, because most people feel very bad. Like they're like, I'm reading it, it's drawing me. There is some human need to do that. There is, I mean, I have a decent IQ. I'm not a, you know, sub-average person, and I enjoy it. It's relaxing me. There is no difference. It's like browsing Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, tabloids, YouTube. All this content with funny stuff going on, Kardashian screaming. It's very relaxing. That level of catharsis is very relaxing. And I can say that also some of my best ideas come from that kind of content because it's very, very simplified. It's very specific, you know. Not even all content is simplified. I mean, you read astrophysics, it has to be simple. Simple means you can understand it, that's it. So I just think it's very bad that people are always like, this elitism, you know, it's very annoying. For me, it's a different aesthetic. If my kids like that, I wouldn't be so worried because that's the aesthetic. It's just like Star Wars is an aesthetic. There is no correlation that if they like the Kardashians, like they're not going to be an astrophysicist. Why? Why wouldn't they be? I mean, you know, someone should do a study like how many super genius people watch the Kardashians. I don't know. You know, maybe some are very elitist and have this idea that they have to protect their self-image. But so I think that kind of play on that feeling is very interesting because there is a strong, in my work, whenever you find a strong feeling, you try to understand it and do something with it, you know. And some marketing people exploit it, like you find a strong feeling and you attach a product to it. Like you feel people are frustrated by not having money and then you attach a product like a politician to it. But some people can maybe try to change, you know, so you don't have to be you don't have to exploit the feelings, you know. That's what you're doing.
Do you allow your kid to watch the Kardashians? Do you encourage that?
I don't encourage it. I think it's okay for them to see. I mean, first of all, Kardashians are at the top. I mean, there is like 1 million levels below if you're talking, if I'm referring to that scale of kind of like, there is a lot of shows here that are, you know, like everywhere, you know, like that are, you know, Kardashians are like the top of the top, are the Bentley
the pinnacle of
reality
shit.
shows, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I prefer I'm recently watching the Selling Sunset, you know. I like that on Netflix, you know. That's, you know, yeah, it's a bunch of real estate
in LA
agents. They're all women.
Yeah, I've seen
that.
Yeah.
And that's so, I mean, me and my girlfriend really love it. We just like binge like 5 episodes. That's so relaxing, you know. That's really, really nice thing to watch. And I went to their office They
Oh,
were not there. I was in LA and I saw the office. I took a photo. I was very, maybe I should interview them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The Oppenheimer
Right.
group. Yeah. They're
Okay.
there. So that's a lot of fun. Reminds me of Cape Town as well, the
Sure.
Falmouth Hills, where all the rich people are in Camps Bay and stuff.
So are you planning a trip out here?
Anyway, every day, but I haven't been there. I've been planning it. I've been planning a trip to Cape Town ever since I left Cape Town. But I'm never there because maybe this year, because I think we haven't traveled, and I think we as a family should do a big trip. And I think going to I left some things in Cape Town so I can see them when I come back later. I always lived there. I've never been to Robben Island. I've never been to the Table Mountain.
All right.
So I kind of left it for later because I wanted to come back many times to Cape Town. So just I've been to Paris a million times, and I lived in Paris, and I've never been to the Eiffel Tower. It's kind of like a thing. I'm gonna do it when I grow older, when I'm your age. Yeah. In a couple of centuries, and I'm your age, and then I'm gonna go around the world and see these basic things that I could have seen the first time. So I can still enjoy traveling. Because I travel.
Well, hopefully I'm still walking by the time you get here, and we can,
Well, if you reach your age, you're gonna reach. Once you reach a certain age, then you're like a turtle or that shark in Antarctic.
Right.
That's kind of floating. Yeah. So just one last thing. So your son is gonna be like a super famous rugby star. Yeah.
Possibly.
You must be very proud of that.
I'm really proud of him, and it'd be great for you to meet him after the times you spent with him. When in fact, even
it made all the difference for him.
No, but I mean, those were good times, and good times for him. I'm just pulling something up. This is my ex-wife, Kosti. That's Sasha's mum. This is her. Can you see the picture? Yes, that's you. Your picture you took of Sasha underwater.
Okay. Yeah. That amazing day. Yeah, I'll send you the photo.
Yeah. So I mean, he and I showed it to him, and he remembered you, and he was he was tiny then. He's grown into a really interesting. I mean, suddenly over the last 6 months, I think he suddenly realised who he is and his personality and what he is as a young man, and he's I'm really proud of him. He's self-motivated. He's very sort of he's humble about what he does, but he's a huge prospect, and there's many teams around the world wanted his signature, and he's only 18 years old, so there is the chance he's going to be on the world stage, which is amazing. Let
me just explain for the audience. So when was it? He's 18 now, so he was 5. So about 13 years ago, you asked me to babysit Sasha, your son, for one afternoon. So we took him to the Sea Point Pavilion pool, and we hang out with him, me and my girlfriend back then. And I noticed that he fell many times, from a lot of heights. He was falling, jumping, and climbing, and he was not hurt. So there is something about his body where he can fall. At that age, you can just take him and throw him, and nothing happens. He was like a rubber boy, like a rock. And
so,
we had a
so
lot
weird
of fun.
You should say that, like a rock. When sorry to bore you, but when his grandfather first met him, he was already about just under 2 years old, and his grandfather was at our place, and Sasha was running around, and he used to love spinning around, getting dizzy, and then smashing into walls and falling over, and then he'd get up and he'd laugh, and his grandfather, who's a Zulu, looked at him and pointed at him and named him on the spot, Mbogoto, which means the rock. That's how he is. It's a really big name. It's the rock that grinds the corn to feed the family. So when you say a rock, I mean, and he's turned out to be, he's a tough kid, playing in a weak position as fly half, but mixing it with the big, the big guy. So I'm really proud of him. He's turned into a really stable guy. You'll enjoy his company.
I'm sure. I would love my kids to meet Sasha as well. That's gonna.
How old are they now?
That's gonna be. Let me remember. I don't remember my kids. Let me remember. I have Marco 5, Georgia 9, and Sofia 14.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm legally obliged by Georgia to say that I'm not his biological father.
Oh, okay.
So I have to always say that.
Sure.
You know.
I have two like that as well.
No, they're my kids.
Yeah, they're my kids too.
But he obliges me. It's like a early sign of rebellion.
Oh, okay.
And a power play between me and him over toys and breakfast and making up the bed and throwing out the garbage. So
why? What does
I have to suffer this?
What?
Non-biological father.
Does he say that to you?
No, I tease him.
Okay.
I tease him that I said it. He refuses. His father. He has a father, obviously. I always say I'm the second father. I negotiate for the name.
Okay.
Can I be the second father? Can I be the something father? You know?
All right.
So we have the first father, the real father, and then we have me as a second father or something else. But so we kind of settled on non-biological father. You know. Well, I always tell him it's good to have many fathers because if per father you get so many toys,
sure.
and so many things, and so much fun, then multiplying the number of fathers is going to multiply the number of things you get. You know? So I told him you should get the third father and the fourth father and stuff like that. Why stop at two? You know?
Good business, sound business advice.
Always be positive. Always be.
Can I ask you one last question before we go? I'm always interested, especially in. I hate the term "the new normal," but you know, these days with COVID and everyone doing interviews and stuff via Zoom. That I'm always very interested in how people place themselves in a frame when they're about to go on TV or have interviews, and I'm interested to know what you have behind you because I can't read it. Normally, you know, sort of intellectuals and film directors put bookshelves behind them full of books, and then they put one or two. They put one or two books open so you can see what type of thing they read. What's that up there?
This is a poster by Raphael.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, he's a friend of mine, he's an artist.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of money. It was an animation. So it's called Stagnation means decline or something like that. So it's about money going up and down.
Okay.
This is an art poster that I made, and this is a little sticker I made when I was in my 20s. So I put all my favorite art websites, and I printed this in like 40,000, I think, copies. And on my cost, back then, when I got my first salaries, on my cost, I sent this all over the world to agencies, people, offices, and I told them this is very important. So I call it education sticker. And I love that project because I did it for many years later. I printed like tens of thousands of the sticker and I mailed it around the world. And I saw some stickers like 10 years later in some offices. You know, they were still having them on tables and stuff. So that's it. Okay. I mean, but Sophia arranged this. She was doing the arrangement, you know. So
okay, and a Chesterfield sofa and a plant that needs attention.
Yeah. So that's it. And I'm in a garage.
Okay.
So
are you? Okay.
Yeah. This is where my company started because when it started, I said I don't want to have more people than this office because I don't like to have a lot of people in a company. But we outgrew it. So we have another office, and now during Corona we canceled the office because I asked everybody, do you want to go back to the office? And there was like a stream of emails. No, including me. So we just canceled the office. We had a nice office. We canceled it. So everybody's working from home now. So
it's a bit cliched, a little bit. You know, this is my office. I started in a garage.
Yeah. But you know, it is because we live in a fancy place, which is like kind of like Camps Bay, and so we rent it. And then I just saw. I mean, I don't care about the garage, so I just put like these things. I closed it up, and that's it. I enjoy being here, but it's actually maybe one of the better places in the house. You know, so it's very, very light. I mean, doesn't say it's a garage, so very practical. But yeah, we started in a garage, but in a fancy area. I mean, this garage is more than you know. That's always the fake thing because a lot of those garages are always in houses of rich people in fancy areas. You know, so that's kind of a And also I prefer to work from a garage, from my home, you know, from a garage. You know. So keep in mind, I needed a big house for a lot of, we need 4 bedrooms. So that's why we're in this area. There's no other place where you can rent it's not like in Cape Town where there's so many houses. Here it's mostly socialist architecture, meaning socialist. I don't know what that means, but meaning it's more about high-rise buildings, you know, like the modernist, let's say modernist, better is modernist, and where people live. I grew up in an apartment in a blocks where you have thousands of people living, and I love that. I think that's really a good place to grow up. I don't like so much being here because it's very similar to what I saw in South Africa. You have to drive the kids around to play. There is not so many kids. Where I grew up, there was like 100 kids every day in the playground in front, every day.
Right.
All kinds of kids. Here it's a bit lonely. It reminds me of the houses
are you
in America.
Are you in Belgrade?
Yeah, Belgrade, Serbia.
Oh, you are? Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So not in Italy. Cool. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are done. You good work. That's it.
Great chatting, man. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
When we talk again, thank you very much. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ciao.
Yeah,
ciao.
cool. Thanks.
Ciao.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.